Hi, everybody. JB back here again with episode 23 in my Did You Ever Wonder series. This is the first of two videos on how that street got its name. Uh, I was going to point out that back in 1980, Stephen Davis did a nice three-part series on the street names for Flashback. And I don't think I differ very much from him. I just want to mention his work on that. And the first five streets were requested by Jim Fairbanks, who I think is a Fayetteville native who lives up in the Pacific Northwest now. So the first street he asked about was Dixon Street. And what I've got here is I got a picture, I think, from Kent Brown's Pictorial History of Fayetteville showing Dixon Street 1930 from Locust. And that's a beautiful picture. And here's one I took in 2012 to try to match it up. It's not nearly as pretty, but you can see the tremendous amount of change. Anyway, so Dixon Street, of course, is named after Joseph L. Dixon. You can see his dates there. He was a very successful entrepreneur, and the reason that big street running out of the university is named. He was buried originally behind the sorority house at Banaventer and Maple, and he was disinterred and buried with the rest of his family out at Mount Comfort, is where he's at. So Dixon Street, that's why it's called Dixon Street. And Zion Road, as I do this without messing up, runs all the way from College, and part of that's shut off right now because there's a bunch of big construction going on, widening, I think. Runs all the way to Crossover, jog to the north a little bit, continue winding all around, goes all the way out to Old Wire Road and Butterfield Coach Road out there and going to Springdale. Right about where my purse is at is the Zion Cemetery, where I have many family members. And right over here is Zion School. And if you continue down this road, about a mile, there's a little house. It's been remodeled. This is the house where I was actually born. And so that's why it's called Zion Road, because it's a Zion community. And here's a picture of the Zion School. Some of you may know that I'm in the family band East of Zion, and we took our picture for our card on the steps of the old Zion School. Okay, another one that Jim asked about was Sutton Street. That's named after the Sutton family. The two best known members are Seneca and James Sutton, and this is Seneca. You can see he only lived 47 years. They were entrepreneurs, storemen, store owners. They have an enclosure in the East Mountain Cemetery, which is just beyond the Walker Enclosed Cemetery, which itself is just beyond the Confederate Cemetery up at the top of Rock Street. And they gave a picture of Seneca Sutton's gravestone there. You can't see it very well, but it does say 1810 to 1857. Anyway, and they have their own enclosure up there, like I said. Garland Avenue is named after the 11th governor of Arkansas, Augustus H. Garland. And I want to mention here, you see his dates, I want to mention here that anytime it's a really well-known person like Garland or Yell, I'm going to talk about in a minute, look in the Encyclopedia of Arkansas for entries about them so you can learn all about those people. Anyway, so that's why Garland, which comes out of the university, is named. And then there's Archibald Yle Boulevard, which opened in 52, 53. It was named by Walter J. Lemke, the founder of the Washington County Historical Society. Here's a painting of Archibald Yle. You might remember that Yle was the first congressman from Arkansas. He was the second governor of Arkansas, and he was killed heroically in combat at the Battle of Buena Vista in Mexico in 1847. As you can see, there's his death date. And Davidson, which is kind of up in North College, kind of near that Sassy's Red House, up at as a hill, as a dip kind of climbs up towards the VA and all in there. B.R. Davidson was a military man in the Civil War. He became a lawyer, banker, served in the state legislature, and at one time he was the president of the Pacific and Great Eastern Railway. And that Rebecca Street nearby is named after his wife. Okay, and then we get to Government Avenue, and I want to mention that. Long ago, it was called Cemetery Road because it ran all the way from Dixon to National Cemetery, and of course, Oak Cemetery just beyond. And it was called Cemetery Road because of the cemeteries. Then it was changed to Government Avenue, and recently it was renamed Leroy Pond Drive, named after Leroy Pond, who was a hero of World War II, killed from wounds that were inflicted on him during combat, doing heroic acts. And he was recently named, and I don't want to get real difficult here, but I'm not sure why they named this portion of Government Avenue after him, although I appreciate it, but he's not buried there. Leroy Pond is actually buried in Fairview. I'm not sure people really realize that. Okay, Hill Avenue is not for a hill, but it's for General Daniel Harvey Hill, a veteran of the Civil War and the third, if you will, president of Arkansas Industrial University, University of Arkansas. I say third or fourth because Noah Gates served as first and third. So if you just count one, he's third. Anyway, so that's by Hill Street. And then I have Rock Street here. That parking lot there is a city parking lot. Right, if you went on further north up there, it's Mountain Street up there. And this we're going down Rock Street right here. And about where that house is, the reason I did this, it's the approximate site of a rock quarry that used to be there. And that's why it's called Rock Street. And then the last one I want to mention here in this episode is Stone Street, which runs in front of, at the north side of Fayetteville High School. And of course, I've talked about these people over and over, Stephen K. and Amanda Brody Stone. And that's why it's called Stone Street, named after the Stone family. Without Mr. Stone and Mrs. Stone, there would be no Harmon Playfield, no Fayetteville High School, no Old City Hospital. They owned all that land. So it's kind of hard not to talk about them, no matter what you may think of them. I find them fascinating. But anyway, so that is this episode. Episode 23 of Did You Ever Wonder? If I can get this thing to close, like I always have trouble with this. Because there we go. And it won't show the options. Anyway, so that was episode 23, How the Street Got Its Name. I will come back with episode 26 of more street names. Thank you for bearing with me in my technical ineptness with Zoom. Hopefully some of the information is useful too and entertaining. I'll talk to you later. Thank you. Bye-bye.